A Game of Thrones movie is in early development. It's been confirmed. This is super exciting. Game of Thrones, the series, was one of the biggest series of all time. The pop culture zeitgeist, the impact that it had around the world, people could not stop talking about it. You just get lost. Every single episode, you get lost in this high fantasy epic kind of world. It's just absolutely incredible. It was beautifully made. The CGI, the action, the characters, everything about it was just incredible. Very visceral, very violent, very beautiful to look at. It just, across the board, just A+ grade on everything. Absolutely fantastic series. Although it didn't necessarily stick the landing in season 8 for a lot of people, I quite enjoyed it, whereas I know a lot of people didn't. There was a lot of controversy around it. But anyway, guys, let's jump into this Hollywood Reporter article. Let's break down the details and see what we can learn about a Game of Thrones movie. So, like I said, this comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Game of Thrones movie in early development at Warner Brothers. The studio has been quietly developing a film based on George R.R. Martin's fantasy universe as HBO Max and Warner Brothers increasingly cross-pollinate the company's big fantasy titles. Yeah, they're going all in with their big sort of fantasy titles and their IP over at Warner Brothers. They're developing a Harry Potter series. They're making Lord of the Rings movies. They're now doing a Game of Thrones movie. So they're going full steam ahead with their biggest IPs over at Warner Brothers, generating these massive kind of like fantasy epics. And I think they're doing a great job. But to hear Game of Thrones, a movie's coming, there was murmurs about and rumors years ago about a trilogy of Game of Thrones movies, but not much came to fruition. But now they're on early development. It's confirmed of the first movie. Is it going to be a trilogy or is it going to be one standalone movie? We'll have to wait and see. So, Warner Brothers has quietly been developing at least one film set in George R.R. Martin's epic fantasy universe, The Hollywood Reporter has learned. Multiple sources describe the project as very early stage of development, with no filmmaker, cast, or writer yet attached. But the company is keen on exploring the idea of Westeros invading cinemas. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be? Based on the popularity and the pop culture kind of impact, it was in the zeitgeist for such a long time. Every single episode that came out, it was the talk of the day. It was the water fountain or the water cooler moment where you stood around with friends talking about it. It was hard to stop talking about it because it was such a great show, and every single episode had such a great impact. It furthered the narrative, and it was just the talk of the kind of the pop culture zeitgeist, as I say, and the impact cannot be kind of understated. So the movie might represent a shift in the company's strategy regarding the property. The showrunners of the original Game of Thrones series, David Benioff and Dan Weiss, famously wanted to conclude the series with 3 feature films instead of its 2019 final season. Yeah, like I was saying, there was murmurings years ago about them wanting to do a trilogy of films, but it never came to fruition. They ended up just continuing it as a series. Whether that was the right or wrong thing to do, I'm not really sure. But there's still time to make more movies. This world is so big, so epic, and there's so many stories to be told here that even though they finished off with continuing the series instead of the trilogy, we have plenty of time in the future to continue on with more movies, more series, and so there's no shortness of time to conclude with movies here. So, Martin was also keen on the idea of a movie, and the author told The Hollywood Reporter back in 2014 that concepts were being kicked around. But for a long time, HBO strongly resisted the idea and instead wanted to preserve the Prestige series as an HBO property. So they basically wanted to continue it as a series. They kind of kicked back on the idea of making movies. They, wanted to continue the series format for whatever reason. And it looks like they've come to their senses now. They've probably realized that the box office potential for a Game of Thrones movie is going to be off the chart. It could be huge. It could be absolutely massive. And I think they've come to their senses, which is great. Didn't they also show some of the Game of Thrones episodes in cinemas? I believe they did like a limited theatrical run of some of the episodes where you could go to cinemas in the US. I don't think they did any here in the UK. I may be mistaken about that. Let me know if you know anything about that, guys. But I'm pretty sure they did show some of the episodes of Game of Thrones in cinemas in the US. I remember hearing about that at the time. So anyway, it keeps jumping up. Sorry about that. I don't know why it keeps doing that. So, since the end of the original series, however, there has been countless changes to the company's executive ranks, with HBO now headed by Casey Bloys and the film studio led by Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. As well as the film versus TV landscape, including an increased willingness to shift cinematic properties to the small screen and back again. There has been Matt Reeves' box office hit The Batman, launching its acclaimed HBO spin-off The Penguin, which again, one of the best things on TV. HBO, man, when it comes to their series, HBO just know what they're doing. They always put out quality, always, and The Penguin, one of the best things I've ever seen on TV. Max's upcoming Dune Prophecy TV series, that's going to be huge as well. Following the success of Denis Villeneuve's 2 films, HBO prepping a new take on J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novels as a TV series, and Warner Brothers developing the new Lord of the Rings movies as Amazon unfurls its Rings of Power TV show. Yeah, like I said, they're going all in with these massive properties over at Warner Brothers. They're doing great things across the board with all their different properties, and it's going to be a few interesting years to be a fan of Warner Brothers content. And you know, I love Warner Brothers as a studio, and I can't wait to see what they do with all of these different properties here. So, the idea that the genre property needs to be either a movie or a TV show has become outdated, so it's unsurprising that Thrones might be the next property to cross mediums. Yeah, it seems more and more, as we go into the future and streaming continues to proliferate the pop culture, it seems that, you know, we're getting streaming shows that become movies, we're getting movies that then become TV shows. So there's that kind of cross medium between streaming shows and movies going back and forth, having spin-offs of movies, having spin-off of TV shows, and then kind of a cross-platform universe, like the Batman, you know, with this spin-off Penguin show now on streaming, and then we're going to get the Batman 2. And then we're going to have Game of Thrones as a series, then that's going to cross mediums into a movie. So it seems that it's going back and forth between the two mediums of streaming and movies, that kind of, you know, that kind of cross medium. And I think that's great, because a series and a movie offers fans two different things, two different formats of the same property. A Game of Thrones movie is going to be very, very different in how that's formatted as opposed to a series. So going back and forth between a series and a movie is a great thing. In 2022, HBO launched the hit prequel series House of Dragon, which recently aired its second season. House of Dragon, again, incredible. The network has also has the upcoming prequel series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, planned for 2025. There are also other ideas in development as well. One tantalizing unexplored territory remains storylines set after the original series, as all the film's successor projects thus far have been prequels. Thrones content has occasionally appeared in theaters before, with HBO having previously given major episodes of the original series at limited screenings around the country to help promote the show. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying just a minute ago. I was pretty sure that I heard that they showed some of the episodes in cinemas, because this show is so damn cinematic. It looks like a movie, but obviously in a series format. Watching this Game of Thrones series on the big screen would be absolutely an incredible experience. And I'm not sure why they don't show more series in cinemas. You know, you've got, like, for example, The Penguin. Watching that series in a cinema would be great, and I think a lot of people would pay to see that. And I'm not sure why they don't do that more with TV shows, showing them in cinemas, especially when cinemas are kind of starved for content in some places throughout the year as well. But that's kind of a separate subject. So yeah, guys, that's kind of where we are. We don't really have any more information. It's been confirmed that Warner Brothers is in very, very early development on a Game of Thrones movie. We don't have any cast or crew attached. We don't have any directors or anything like that. It's very, very early days. This is brand new information just coming out from The Hollywood Reporter. They're the most legit kind of outlet when it comes to movie news, so you can take this to the bank. It's absolutely confirmed, guys. But this is exciting. Where are they going to go with it? What kind of stories are they going to tell? Are we going to see characters that we know and love from the series popping up in the movie? How are they going to kind of tackle this Westeros movie? It'd be interesting to find out. But guys, you hear this news. Are you excited for a Game of Thrones movie, or do you think that they should just keep it as a series format? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section, leave your thoughts, comments and opinions. Cannot wait to hear what you have to say about this news. It's super exciting. I can't wait to see Westeros on the big screen. I think it would be absolutely epic beyond belief. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you as always in the next video.